Good morning. Welcome to the Robert Saviola Show. Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about what's actually happening across the globe and in our own country. It seems that most people are buying what's happening on the news, or what they tell you is happening on the news. You see, there's only one story, but that story is spread to all these different networks. And the networks all tell the same story. It's what they're told to say. It's not the real story. It's the story, like I just said, they're told to say. Now, I want you to look at each other. I want to break this down so it's simple that everybody can understand. Think about your neighbor. Think about people you work with. Think about your family. Think about everybody that you know. Now, as you think about them, notice that everybody wants the same exact things. People need human contact. They like to be touched. They like to be loved. They like affection. People love to laugh. They love music. They like good food. A nice, restful sleep. Good entertainment. Now, who do you know? Remember, there's 6 degrees of separation on the planet. Who do you know that really only wants to go out and hurt people? Who do you know that wants to go out and really seriously kill someone? Think about this for a second. I'm not talking about somebody who's angry, who had something happen and is spouting. I'm talking about somebody that you've known your whole life, or you've known for some time. And every time you see them, that's all they're obsessed with, is causing chaos, havoc, and injuring people. Now, I know some people with bad tempers, and some people that can do some bad things. Don't want to know them, but it's just the facts. But they're not bad people. They don't wake up in the morning saying they want to go hurt somebody. These are people that, if disturbed in the wrong way, could act out of passion in the moment. But they're not going to premeditatedly plan and devise some evil thing against a total stranger. Now, when you think about people who commit murder, and I'm talking about like to family members or spouses that cheat, crimes of passion, that's different. That's different than what I'm getting at here. What I'm getting at is these so-called beheadings, these acts of terror in France, terror against people that they don't know personally. Okay? I'm very concerned about the agenda of what's happening, because whether it's real or not, to me, everything is fake until proven real. Just like everybody's innocent until proven guilty. I'm not going to take some clip or somebody telling me what happened. If the evidence isn't, beyond the preponderance of the doubt, or beyond the doubt, or how do you want to say it? If the evidence has to be overwhelming, how's that? We'll say it like that. And we haven't had any overwhelming evidence. We've had somebody say something that goes viral and everybody reacts to it. So people say, well, it must be real. Look at all these thousands of people reacting to it. No, doesn't have to be real. Now, I'm not saying it's false. I'm not saying it's real. I'm saying, really, what's the motive? You see, here's where I'm having a problem. If you take crimes of passion, for instance, the crimes of passion are delivered against the people that they're passionate with, or the people that they're most angry with. If a person decides to say, remember the years ago, they had that one child molester. He's walking through the airport. I think it was in Texas. The father was hiding by a phone with a baseball cap, turned and killed the child molester, and he actually got off because that child molester had molested his own son. But you see what happened there? He didn't go after the police. He didn't go after some other child molester, some other stranger. He went after the person that directly hurt his own son. So what I don't understand, if human nature is to protect itself and only go after the threat, well, the threat right now aren't strangers on the street. The threat are the people pulling the strings. Yet I don't see anybody going after any presidents or leaders of any countries. You know, nobody, to my knowledge, is going after the leader of North Korea or Russia or the United States or any place. But if these are the people that are behind the puppet masters, so to speak, why haven't anybody gone after them? If you're truly hurt, like for instance, if and not everybody that gets injured will react that way. But of all the people in the United States that have been hurt because of Obamacare, for instance, or some policies that the United States is inflicting upon us right now, how come nobody's gone after the person that put that card in play? I'll tell you why. Because we are civilized people. And because we actually do love one another and want the best for everybody. Liberals concern me a bit with the way they speak and how they act and the vile things they say. But I'm sure deep down inside they're the same as everybody else. And they're speaking out of frustration more than anything else. Because they really don't know that their programs don't work. They really don't know that they're on the wrong side. You see, I think the conservative libertarian side or the libertarian conservative side is the way to be for sure. But when you look at our own House of Representatives and the so-called leader of the Republican Party there, third in command to the presidency, John Boehner, selling out the Republicans in the United States, selling them out like Judas with Jesus. And then the Republicans stand up and they try to vote him out, but he wins anyway because it's difficult to do that. And then he goes against the Republicans that tried to stand up for the people. So I want you to look at this. John Boehner is supposed to be the leader of the Republicans. Like I said, he sold out the Republicans the way Judas sold out Jesus, kinda, you know. And then you'd have some other Republicans in the House that went against him to try to get him out of there. It'd be like the apostles trying to stop Judas from doing any more damage. And then, of course, they're stopped, and then Boehner goes after them personally because they tried to do the right thing. They had to be punished. Yet you see nobody going after Boehner. There's no wild gunmen anywhere looking for him. Yet we're supposed to believe there's wild gunmen looking for strangers that have done nothing to them. Caused them no harm. What I'm trying to do here is to show you motive for all these things we're supposed to believe. There is no motive. Now, I'm not saying there aren't sick people out there, and I'm not saying sick people don't do sick things. And I'm not saying sick things don't happen. Police officers see it all the time. Fire and rescue people, ambulance people see it all the time. What I am saying, though, is all these spectacular affairs that we're watching on the news now arise are not real. They're with an agenda to control you, my friend. To make you believe that we need a government to control us so we behave ourselves. You listen to Robert Saviola. Stay tuned. I'll be back right after this message. I'm back. You're listening to the Robert Saviola Show here on AM 930 WBEN. I want to switch gears a little bit this segment, talk a little bit about health. As you know, we have a huge problem in the United States, and it's obesity. 4 out of 5 Americans are now obese, and it's getting worse. Notice if you go across the border to Canada, and you go to clothing sizes, their sizes are much smaller than ours. A size 10 in the United States would probably be a much higher size in Canada. Also notice that if you were to watch television, say on MeTV or something, and you're even watching Archie Bunker from All in the Family, early 70s, 40 years ago. Archie was considered to be, have some weight on him. But if you look at him by today's standards, he looks like a thin man. And look at all the other shows we have on television in the United States. We were all much thinner. This started about 20 years ago. We started getting heavier. There was only one thing that happened in that 20 years that happened here that did not happen anywhere else in the United States. And that was the introduction of genetically modified organisms into our food supply. They're called GMOs. Why I'm talking to you about GMOs right now is because I've been doing some research. And the more I research, the more my jaw drops and the more aghast I am over the situation at hand. We have allowed our government to create monopolies and to get in bed with each other on such a level of greed that we've murdered millions of people here in the United States. Have I done the numbers? No, I'm guessing. But it's obvious once you do the research. We have 2 types of GMOs. We have the ones... Well, I didn't want to go into that. I don't want to go into that. Let me just put it to you this way. Do you know that our corn that we eat now has a pesticide in the seed? So as the corn grows, it becomes deadly to any pest that would normally eat it. But then we eat it with the poison in it. So they have food with herbicides in there and pesticides in there. And the thing is what we're eating is killing us. It's making us put on weight. Now, here's one of my things about weight. You know that I have buffalo hypnosis, and we hypnotize people for many things. And one of the big things people come in for is weight loss. And that's because there's so many people that could use it to get healthier. Well, if the nutrition is missing from the food we're eating, and we eat the food, we're eating empty calories. The calories are still going in our body storing it as fat or doing whatever it has to do with it, breaking us down, our organs and stuff, breaking things down. But we're not getting our nutrition. And when we're not getting our nutrition, our body hungers for more food. Have you ever done one of these numbers? Ate supper, and then as soon as you were done eating supper, you went and started a snack? And you went from one snack to another snack to another snack to another snack? Only to take a break when you're completely full, but then as soon as you weren't full anymore, started snacking again? Well, if you're not getting the nutrition that your body needs, your body craves more food because it needs to keep itself alive. But have you ever ate healthy and noticed how full you were quickly and how you weren't hungry again for a while, a long period of time as in comparison to the other foods you eat? Well, therein lies the whole thing. Other countries will not allow our GMOs. In Haiti, poorest country on the planet, when the earthquake hit, Monsanto tried to give them tons of seeds. You know what the Haitians did? They burned the seeds. They would not plant them. Monsanto was saying this was a gift we're giving to you. You know what the Haitians said? You are giving us a poison that will kill us. Now the Haitians, poorest country on the planet. I don't know how intelligent the people are, but they're much smarter than we are. In our country, our Food and Drug Administration has allowed outright poisons that are killing us to be fed to us on demand. And I mean on demand because they're demanding that we do it. Farmers cannot plant their own seed. They must buy this seed from our government. The seed can only be used once. They're not allowed to reuse any seed because the government says it owns the seed. So they have to burn their seed that's left over and buy again the next year or destroy it in some way. We are being forced to eat foods that are going to kill us. And nobody's doing anything about it. And American greed is real, and it's bringing down our nation. It's bringing down our people. And there are people at the very top that just want more and more and more, and they don't care how many people they trot on or kill in the process. And our government is complicit because the people that work for these companies go in and out of lobbying at government or working in some fashion of government and going back. So whether they work for the FDA, the FTC, whatever, the EPA, I don't know, they'll go back and forth. And it goes right down to our very own doctors. You see, people trust doctors. And I'm not saying you shouldn't trust a doctor. There are great doctors out there. But doctors' hands are tied. They're no longer allowed to treat medicine. It's illegal to cure anything in this country if you're not a drug. You can't use the word cure. And when you go to a doctor and you're looking for help, well, these poor doctors are told that they have to prescribe something that's just going to give you another prescription down the road or break something else down in your body. Many doctors that I know personally know exactly the answers, exactly all the answers to the problem you're experiencing. But they're told to prescribe a certain drug for this treatment. And if they don't, they can lose their license or whatever. But let's say you're a cancer doctor. Did you know that chemotherapy in adult patients does not work 97% of the time? In adult patients, chemotherapy does not work 97% of the time. It destroys you. There are other ways to help you get rid of cancer that are far more superior, far more successful, that work. There's a gentleman out there that you really should look into, and next week I'll give you more information about him. But he talks about this in great length, and I'm a believer in this guy. He talks about how much money some doctors make prescribing chemotherapy, knowing it's not going to work, but for each patient they make thousands. You know, I lost my mom to cancer. Didn't have to happen. They say that nowadays, I think it's 82% of cancer or something like that, is environmental. It's either you're smoking or you're taking some sort of food that's causing cancer or something like that. But only like 18% or less has anything to do with something that would be beyond your control. I don't want to go into the numbers and the things without knowing exactly how many they are, because I could be wrong off in certain areas. But what I am right is we're being misled. Healthcare is a scam. Health insurance is a scam. The best thing doctors can do for us is treat traumas, injuries, fractures, surgeries. But if they're not allowed to help heal by the American Medical Association. This hurts them in doing their job more than anything. Why is it, do you think, that in other countries they don't have the cancer rates as we have here? They don't have hardly any of the death rates we have here. We're supposed to be top of the world. Yet we're a laughingstock to most of the world. And I got to tell you, our Canadian neighbors are a lot healthier than we are. They don't have any GMOs in their food. You'd be better driving across the border to do all your shopping. Really. I'm just in awe at how much our government hurts us. How our government actually fights inward to keep us at bay. When I look at John Boehner, what he did to the people that stood up for the people of the United States, I think to myself, we have no election process anymore. We have no voice in government. We are pawns. They're pawns. We are their slaves. And to sum everything up for this show, we are going to see more and more false attacks and bogus problems happening that are generated by our own government in order to convince its population to unanimously believe that we need to be controlled because we're not old enough to wipe our own butts or care for ourselves. We cannot collect rainwater, grow gardens in many areas, eat the food we choose. We can't raise our kids the way we want to raise them. The government says how they should be raised. They're being taught horrible things in school. There's no patronage anymore. I think of all the people that have fought in our wars for what? For some puppet master. Wars that should have never taken place. The torture some of our boys and girls have gone through. Horrendous. Horrendous. I no longer look at my country with pride and respect. I no longer have a morality for this nation. I don't even know how God can look upon us. Now, not the people, but our government. I still think we're made up of great people that are there for each other. We are. But we have a corrupt government that doesn't care about anything but themselves. And they're like the crab effect. They're all in a bucket trying to climb higher. And when somebody climbs higher, they pull them down to climb over top of them. It's disgusting. And remember what I told you in the beginning of the show. It's all fake. Because nobody's going after the true people that are behind the problems. You see, nobody looking to take them out. People are taking out innocent people minding their own business. But if there was true disgust in what was happening, the bead would be on the people causing the problem and not innocent people minding their own business. I want you to pay attention to that. Pay attention to who's the one being injured on the street. Who's the story being focused on. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Because the puppet makers of the world are just laughing as they stage event after event, crisis after crisis, pull the wool over our eyes at every corner, decide to make inside handshakes and deals, and even use the people that are directly responsible for hurting us as pawns to make their own pockets deeper. And it's not going to stop. Not unless we find a way to stop this train. And as long as people are still comfortable enough to allow the water to boil slowly, we'll all just sit there and roast. Again, don't believe anything you hear, half of what you see. Be skeptical. Use common sense. Follow the money. What's the agenda? God bless each and every one of you. Have a fantastic week. And God willing, I'll be here next week with another show for you. Hope you like this one. Take care.